I know, I know. Well, damn, JJ, where was the video last week? What's going on? I was on vacation, okay? Relax. What's up, everybody? It is JJ Buckets, and I'm back this week and ready to drop a new video for you all. Now, before I fully get into things, the usual drill, make sure you leave a like on the video. It makes a massive difference for me, and I appreciate every time you folks do it. And if you're new here and you like what you watch today, subscribe to the channel as well. 1K is so within reach, it is ridiculous at this point, and I love it. So help me out with that. Other than that, let's get into today's video. So today I'm gonna keep talking trades, keep talking offseason rumors, and with a different spin on it today, I guess, to some extent. So the Raptors have now also been linked, at the very least, as a team interested for Donovan Mitchell as well. This one makes a lot of sense to me in a lot of ways, and it's one that I have talked about way back when on this channel. I've talked about Donovan at least a fair bit on this channel. And yeah, I like Donovan. But the discussion here today is between Kevin Durant, which the Raptors have obviously also been linked to, and Donovan Mitchell. Who is the right call amongst the two? I think there's an interesting argument for both, and obviously there's the argument to not even do anything as well. I will touch base with everything here, so let's get going, right? So with Kevin Durant, I think this one is the more established one, so I'm going to be a little more brief on it. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a superstar talent, still one of the best in the game. A little injury prone over the past few years and obviously getting up there in years, so that's both the pros and the cons, I guess, in short, so to speak. With Kevin Durant, obviously the asking price is high, very high from the Brooklyn Nets, as you can see by the fact that he's still on the Brooklyn Nets and has not been moved. Yeah. And with that being said, the Nets just keep coming after and keep coming back to the idea that they want Scottie Barnes, and I just don't think Masai is going to give up Scottie Barnes. I think if Masai was willing to give up Scottie Barnes, that trade would have been done by now, but Scottie Barnes isn't on the move here. So with Kevin Durant, let's talk about it, right? Like, where is the argument for him? If the Raptors are going to make a trade, where's the argument for him to be the one that they should really go all in on? Well, he's the one that definitely puts you closest to the title immediately out of these two. Like, yes, he's a little bit older. He's 33 now, and he will be quite old by the end of his contract, but he's still Kevin Durant. And with the Raptors and in previous years, such as, you know, the 2019 championship with Kawhi, we know they can load manage a superstar level player, which is going to be good for somebody of Durant's years and recent injury history. And Kevin Durant adds the biggest element. Frankly, both these guys add the biggest element that the Raptors are missing. Maybe not the biggest, but at least one of the biggest, which is just a shot creator for the playoffs that can go and get his own offense and really propel your team through those moments. I think the Raptors are very much so missing that, and it was notable in last year's playoffs. And granted, nobody expected the Raptors to win a title last year. Last year started as a developmental year and ended as a year where the Raptors climbed pretty high in the standings and even gave hope for an upset, you know, in that Sixers series before the series actually started. So adding a player of Kevin Durant's caliber immediately does propel the Raptors into the title window. Granted, depending on what you end up giving up for Kevin Durant. But yeah, that's the Kevin Durant talk, right? So much for keeping it brief. I think I actually made that a little bit longer than I would have liked to. But then there's Donovan Mitchell, right? Donovan Mitchell is younger, right in his prime, and a star level player. Not quite a superstar level player, but a star level player. Once again, also adds something that the Raptors need, something that Kevin Durant adds. Shot creation, a ton of it. And the other thing that I think I really like about Donovan Mitchell is he is a player that, typically speaking, does raise his level of play for the playoffs, which you take that. You take that 10 out of 10 times, where he's a star level player. You know, in the regular season, he's, I wouldn't quite say a superstar in the playoffs, but he's a lot closer to when it comes to the playoffs. And in that light, adding him to this team again also really does thrust them into the championship window. The thing is, obviously, Not as much so to the level as a Kevin Durant does. As much as I like Donovan Mitchell, which I do, I think he's a fantastic young player, Donovan Mitchell doesn't give you that same window to win a championship that Kevin Durant does in terms of the level of players that both those guys are. The counter argument to that is where with Kevin Durant you get maybe a 2-3 year title window. With Donovan Mitchell you probably get a reasonably longer window. So it's like you don't get the same strength in terms of the chances of winning a title with Donovan Mitchell, but you probably give up at least less pieces to an extent. Obviously the Jazz are still going to want a reasonable haul, but you're probably giving up less pieces and your title window is open for longer. You've solved one of your team's biggest issues. So there's a lot to like about the Donovan move as well. Obviously, at the end of this is the argument that the Raptors really shouldn't do anything and they should just run it back and keep developing their young guys. And that's not a bad argument, quite frankly, and maybe even one that I kind of sit back on, because at the end of the day, obviously, I talk all this trade stuff because it makes for great content and because, you know, it's always fun imagining all these great players on your team, but at the end of the day, the Raptors aren't in a bad position if they do want to just hold with where they are. And with that being said, that might be the best avenue here with all the young talent, but it does seem like, to some extent at least, Masai is definitely listening and taking his looks at an opportunity to add a star to superstar level player as they are becoming available. So it makes you think. It does make you think that maybe Masai is more ready and willing and in tune with this stuff than maybe some are giving credit for in regards to trading for a star. But at the same time, it could just be Masai doing his due diligence and seeing what it would take to add that caliber of player to his team. And if the price isn't right for him, then in most cases, I would say he's probably just going to stand pat. I don't think Masai is somebody that's going to overpay for that kind of stuff. I think, once again, if Masai was somebody that was willing to overpay for that kind of level of player, that Kevin Durant deal would be done by now. But again, I don't think he is. So there is I'd say, very realistic chance that nothing ever really materializes here and the Raptors just kind of stand pat where they are. But if they don't, I'm very curious excuse me, I'm sorry, it is a little early here. I am very curious to hear from you folks of Donovan Mitchell and of Kevin Durant. Which of the two do you see as a better fit for the Raptors and the Raptors' plans moving forward? Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Other than that, folks, I believe it's been me for today. It's been JJ Buckets, and the usual drill will once again repeat itself. Like the video. If you're still here and you're still watching, you clearly liked it enough. So just hit that button. It takes like a second, and the algorithm really appreciates that like button being smashed, so smash it. Once again, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, 1K is within reach, 1K is doable. I would like to hit 1K. Help me hit 1K. Again, if you're still watching, you liked it enough to just take a chance on hitting that subscribe button. Folks, it's been JJ Buckets. Thank you for welcoming me back, and I will see everybody next time.